These are 20 secrets coming to Operation Twin Shells. If players head on over to Russia and now visit Cafe Dostoyevsky, they may notice contractors have been hard at work remodeling the ceiling plan, specifically on the second floor. Before Twin Shells, almost all the ceiling on the second floor was wooden paneling. Some of the wooden floor could be opened up to where you could see through to the third floor, but other parts not so much. A misplaced buckshot or ash charge would simply just reveal concrete. Now, the floor is clearly laid out, showing marble where the floor can't be destroyed and wood where the floor can be destroyed. However, a change that players have been waiting 3 months for has finally made its way into the new season. In Operation New Blood, a bug on the map Skyscrapers showed up where players on attack couldn't see the ventilation unit's spawn location. It was just blank. And while this bug didn't affect anything serious, players just found it concerning that Ubisoft didn't show much attention nor care for Operation New Blood. Starting the season with a lack of content already rubbed players the wrong way, but then to not fix simple bugs was the cherry on top for players to realize Ubisoft gave up on the season. They moved on to bigger and better things, which are here in Year 9 Season 3. The big change with Operation Twin Shells that Ubisoft has been working on is without a doubt Scopus, and in the season reveal, it was mentioned that the name of Scopus' twin shells are Talos and Colossus, but it was not disclosed why. With Scopus being a Greek operator, she took inspiration from Greek mythology to name her robots. Talos was a giant man made of bronze created by Hephaestus with the intention for it to be a protector, and Colossus was a 32-meter tall figure made to represent a successful defense. And with Operation Twin Shells revolving around Greece and Greek mythology, it would only make sense for Ubisoft to correlate this season's rank charms with their ongoing theme, and that's exactly what they did. If players head on over to view the ranked rewards for the season, all charms represent a Greek god or goddess. Starting with Copper, you'll see a hammer and anvil representing Hephaestus, who is the god of fire, metallurgy, and crafts. You also may recognize that name because he was just mentioned as the god who had created Talos. Next we have Bronze as a shoe with wings, which easily identifies with the god Hermes. Then comes a silver arrowhead relating to the goddess of hunting, Artemis, who would only use silver arrows with her bow. Following silver comes gold, which depicts the god of the sun, Helios. Then for platinum, we have someone wearing an owl-shaped headgear, which resembles wisdom, and who's the god or goddess of wisdom, you may ask? That would be Athena. After Athena is a more recognizable symbol, which is a 3-pronged trident belonging to Poseidon. Similarly, the diamond charm also includes a weapon pointing to who it symbolizes. Take a look above the face and you will see a 2-pronged fork resembling the weapon of choice Hades uses. Finally, we have Champion, which obviously portrays the almighty Zeus. Another reward coming with Operation Twin Shells is Siege's first ever animated background card called Neon Noir. While yes, this has been available since August 28th for membership owners, it is still available to players who have purchased the membership for the previous 2 months until September 28th. With Ubisoft focusing their resources on implementing a monthly membership system instead of their year pass, it's confusing though as to why there has been no up-to-date communication nor promotions for their membership on social media. Something else Ubisoft hasn't advertised properly is the adjustments being done to Solis' electro sensor. During the reveal, the developers had mentioned Solis was receiving the second half of her 2-part nerf in Operation Twin Shells. This time around though, players aren't sure if she received a buff or a nerf. The Spec.io electro sensor got redesigned and gained an overclocking feature, which essentially replaced Solis' ability to mark gadgets for her whole team to see. What wasn't mentioned in the Twin Shells reveal is that Solis can now soft ping, also known as yellow ping or Z ping, gadgets on her sensor at all times. This feature being added does seem super useful to those who enjoy playing Solis, but I suppose only time will tell. Nook is also an operator who received a change this season relating to her Hell Presence Reduction Glove. In Operation New Blood and prior, Mute was considered to be a counter to Nook. If Nook wanted to activate her gadget while on top of Mute's Signal Disruptor, she wouldn't be allowed to. Now in Operation Twin Shells, if Nook chooses to activate her gadget on top of a Signal Disruptor, she's able to. A small yet important change to make her better in more situations. Another secret buff that got added to Nook's arsenal is that she's able to fully counter Scopus' idle shell camera. Before Skopos was released, Nook would be seen glitching on all cameras when certain actions were being performed, such as shooting, sprinting, or even planting the diffuser. But when viewing through the camera attached to Skopos' shell, Nook will not glitch whatsoever. Meaning realistically, Nook could plant the diffuser in front of an idle robot without anyone knowing. With all these changes that have been granted to Nook, I'm sure players will start to see her as a more viable operator on attack. Zofia is an operator who may not be as viable on attack anymore when defense brings a Skopos in their operator lineup. If Zofia comes across one of Skopos' idle shells in a hallway and she just can't seem to see if there's an enemy playing behind it, her concussion grenade won't be useful. Players tend to use Zofia's concussion grenades to either push an enemy or to gather intel on a player's location, but with Skopos, if Zofia tries to shoot her concussion grenade past an idle shell, the grenade will trigger automatically because the shell is recognized as an operator. Tubro is also an operator, and he has a unique interaction with Skopos as well. With Skopos' shells being robots, they have passive abilities such as being immune to smoke's toxic gas. The shells are also secretly immune to Tubro's Zoto canister. With Skopos' gadget literally being a robot, you would think freezing it to temperatures that would stop Thermite's exothermic charge ought to also stop the robot from functioning. However, the robots must have some top-of-the-line heating system built into them because the robots move perfectly fine when walking through the ice. The only thing Tubro affects is Skopos' ability to transfer from shell to shell. Dokkaebi also has the ability to prevent Skopos from transferring shell to shell by calling her phone, or in the robot's case, its ARM tablet. And because the robots have something other than a phone, they drop a computer chip instead for Dokkaebi to hack when eliminated. A nice little attention to detail. And since the robots don't carry a phone, they make a different buzzing sound unique to the shells only when Dokkaebi calls them. Also, if you happen to eliminate an idle robot when you have a Dokkaebi on your team, you'll see that Skopos' inactive shell also drops a chip for Dokkaebi to hack. So if you're playing Skopos, you should still be careful where you place your inactive robot, and if you're the one who happens to eliminate the idle shell, make sure to call your Dokkaebi on over to hack the defender's cameras. Aside from cameras, proximity mines are also a useful way to gather intel. They were first added in Operation Steel Wave and have been untouched until Twin Shells came around. Now, when a proximity mine is triggered by an opponent, the defender that the mine belongs to will not receive points on the side of their screen, letting them know it has been set off. Sorry Macy, looks like you're gonna have to find a new way to make proximity mines overpowered. Something that isn't overpowered and more so annoying to have to deal with is motion blur. If you're not familiar with what motion blur is, a prime example is when you take damage, your screen will start to get blurry as a signal to you that you're taking damage. Nobody really asked for this to be changed, but if you're interested in removing it, you can go head on over to the accessibility tab to turn off motion blur. With this option off, your screen will be free from blur, and now to let you know you are taking damage, the outer edges of your screen will turn red. Now, if we head on over to Ireland and drop by Emerald Plains to visit the library, there's been a minor change in the decor to prevent some of you from exploring the map. Previously, there would be a wooden globe placed on a table next to the courtyard window that could be used in order to get into spots on the map that aren't meant to be accessed, giving players a rather unfair advantage. And so, this globe was moved a couple meters over and found a new home on another wooden table. And while a lonely old wooden globe found a new home, Flores' Rotero drone got separated from its. The Rotero Charge is now the only controllable drone to not receive the new drone boost ability and has just been completely left out from the rest of the group. Skopos' robots are also unique from any other operator because they technically don't obey the one-shot headshot mechanic at all times. But let's make things clear real quick, an active shell will always require one shot to the head to be eliminated, so you don't have to go worry about that. On the other hand, Skopos' inactive robot will in fact take more than one shot to the head to eliminate it, depending on the caliber of your secondary weapon. Certain handguns, such as the 5.7 or the P29, won't one-shot headshot the idle robot, but other options like the D50 will immediately remove the head off the robot. Reverse Friendly Fire has also received a change in Operation Twin Shells to prevent toxic teammates from, well, being toxic. Prior to the release of Year 9 in Season 3, if a player downed their teammate, they would immediately receive reverse friendly fire, and if said person goes to revive the player they ended up downing, their reverse friendly fire would go away. This allowed players to continue to troll for the rest of the match and became a problem in some situations. Now, if a player gets down by their teammate and then picks back up, they will now have the option to activate reverse friendly fire or deactivate it, whatever they choose. A little nice quality of life update. Something fun players can do now is dance. Dokkaebi being able to do the gritty is the closest thing players have gotten to emotes in Siege, and now with the new operator Skopos, players have a new dance to try out. Now I don't know what you would call this, breakdancing maybe, but it sure looks like fun to do. And my question is, would players like to see real emotes be brought into Siege? And with every update, something must go when new stuff is added, and so say goodbye to the arcade game mode, Snipers Only. It was a fun and casual game mode for players to hop in and have a good time, well until someone pulled out their revolver in a sniper battle, but all jokes aside, Snipers Only was actually fun for what it was, and it's sad to say goodbye to a game mode liked by many. Maybe one day though, we'll see it make a return. But on that note, we have reached the end of the list containing 20 secrets inside of Operation Twin Shells.